Alright, my package arrived with my mag switches and drill bits, so I want to just open this up and let's see what's inside here. And just let you know that this is out there and available. I think it's a pretty good package deal. 40mm Forstner bit. Looks just like my bits I have in my shop already, in a set of Chinese bits. We'll see how it cuts. But being fairly new, we shouldn't have any trouble with that. So that looks good. I'll put that on later. And then 2 mag switches. And those also look good. So this is from a company called Advanced Controls and Distribution out of Pennsylvania. One thing I forgot to mention. The 2 mag switches and the bit, $74, just shy of $74 for everything, and that included the shipping. Alright, I got my holes drilled, and that 40mm bit worked out pretty well. It's a nice tight fit, and I like that. Now here's the problem. If I were to put this in the other way, you can see this mag switch sits proud of the surface, and obviously it would sit proud the other way. And I want that to be just slightly below the surface. I mean just a few thousandths. So I need to have a shim to take up that gap. And I was thinking about using just some credit card stock type thing here. And it would have taken me 2 of these to get the fit that I wanted. So now when I flip this over, I can feel that I'm just below the surface with those credit card shims. And when I measure those 2 together, I get about 55 thousandths. So I'm going to take and do something I haven't done before, and I'm going to hope for the best, I guess, but you don't know until you try. I've got some stock here that I used to veneer some stuff a while back. I put double-sided tape on it. It's a cherry, and I'm going to put that on this piece of plywood here. I've got 2 of them. Stick it down and take this down to about, maybe 60 thousandths or so. A little thicker than what I had there before. Here's my setup for ripping these small pieces. I'm gonna run my fingers through there. I'm confident that I can do that without any trouble. But I've got this piece of plywood you saw me using earlier wedged against the fence with a feather board, and a stop out here to keep it from being pushed forward. I ran my piece through, then just after the blade stop, pulled it back slightly, and then put my stop so that I'm not cutting right to the front of that edge anymore. So let's see how this turns out. Been an hour. Let's see how we did here. Looks good. As does that one. So I'll remove this glue and trim these up flush. The one thing I was going to tell you was my cauls I ended up using were off of that piece of plywood. I just finished the rip cut, then cut it into 3 pieces. I had to come up with a 4th piece, but I used this piece of scrap as another caul. So yeah, you had to span these openings. And you can see the glue there is dry on the bottom except that one little spot there. So that looks good. I like it. So we'll drill the holes and see how the fit looks. Well, there it is, the finished jig. Got these mag switches in there. They look great. The clearance is perfect. So if you turn it off, you've got macro adjustment, and turn them on, and that baby is not going to move when you start moving this, moving the fence with this thumb wheel here. And it's just beautiful. It's the movement is nice and easy, and you got plenty of adjustment here. I'm considering shortening this rod to about 8 inches. You don't need this much adjustment, but for now I'll leave it alone. And again, you can reverse it. I've got the corners knocked off of this, and it just has a nice look and a nice feel, and it works. I mean, that's the main thing, it works. So 2 tools, a 9/16 wrench and a 5/32 ball driver, and you can get this thing set up in a heartbeat. So let me change the camera angle, and I'll show you the one up on top of the fence, how that works. Hang on. The one thing I forgot to show you was the trucks I made. The ones that I didn't put uprights on, I put a 3/8 inch rare earth magnet in it, and the ones that I did put the upright on, I put a 1/2 inch. They're both on the same center line, so that they'll contact this screw head, whichever one I use. Now this one I did shorten the threaded rod here to 4 inches. Could have probably gone 5, but again, you don't need that much adjustment, because right here is all you need to do for macro adjustment. Get it close, and now you've got 3/4 of an inch either side of this center line up here. So I'll show you how I made these homemade thumb wheels in my next video, or one of my upcoming videos, I guess I'll put it that way. But that works great, and again, you can lock it down here, lock it here, or if I had a lock in the stop, when you want to lock it in the spot you've located it in, set it, and then you can back all this out of the way. So very versatile, and I am very, very pleased and happy with the way this thing works. So stay tuned, and I'll keep you apprised of the possibility of coming up with a kit, you know, for aluminum thumb wheels, or if you want to make your own, I'll show you how to do that here next time. Thanks for watching.